Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal, the International. I'm called Maureen D. We begin with our top stories. The armed robbers who attacked and killed an expatriate in broad daylight in Douala on August 20, 2023 have been arrested and detained at the judicial police in Bonanjo, Douala. The hardened criminals were presented to the press during a simulation exercise of the recent incident. And Cameroon is taking measures to avoid surprises after the coup in Gabon. The Gabonese crisis has arisen. Cameroonians or awakened Cameroonians for several reasons, one being the fact that a large Cameroonian community resides in Gabon and could be affected. And over 29,000 new voters have registered on the electoral register in 2023. The statistics were made public this September 1 by the Director General of Elections, Eric Asuse, following the closure of the process yesterday, August 31, as stipulated by the Electoral Code. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. The armed robbers who attacked and killed an expatriate in broad daylight in Cameroon's economic city Douala on August 2023 have been arrested and detained at the judicial police in Bonanjo, Douala. The hardened criminals were presented to the press during a simulation exercise of the recent incidents. More on the story with our reporter Gladys Ambo Tiba.
This is how the expatriate was stabbed to death on August 11, 2023, during a robbery in broad daylight in a company at Ripo Aqua Douala. The thieves succeeded in seizing the sum of 2,845,000 francs CFA from the company, but was fortunately recuperated when the hoodlum in possession of the money collapsed.
At around 1 p.m. on August 11, 2023, individuals armed with firearm and dagger carried out a robbery at a place called Aqua Ripo. They succeeded in taking the sum of 2,845,000 francs from a customer, and in the process fatally wounded one of the company's sales managers, who died a few hours later in hospital. Unfortunately for them, as they fled, their accomplice, who was holding the money, collapsed and died on the spot, having also been injured during the robbery. The stolen money was returned to its owner.
After thorough investigations, the gang members were arrested and detained at the judicial police in Bonanjo. The operation at the origin of the death of the expatriate was simulated in Douala, August 31, 2023.
Subsequent investigation coordinated by the Regional Delegate for National Security of Littoral, on the instruction of the Chief of Corps, led to the arrest of a total of 8 people, including 2 of the 4 individuals who had entered the store, one of whom had died, as well as the 3 who had been waiting outside on motorcycle, in addition to the one who had the weapons and the 2 master means, one of whom was arrested at the border with the Central African Republic. The 4th individual was arrested in Bamenda as part of similar proceedings.
According to police officers, the victim who lost his life in the exercise will be buried on September 9, 2023. The police has called for calm and has promised to ensure the safety of the population, especially as the new academic year kicks off in just 2 days.
A police officer serving as head of the special branch at Bamenda 2 police station was shot and killed yesterday by presumed separatists, according to close sources. The police officer was constantly in civilian clothes to avoid being a prime target. His colleagues say they have opened investigations. As we hear the following story, read our reporter Saleh Sharifa Anyi Collins Anyi.
Not this song, shooting this morning.
If Asila Angus is no more, the police commissioner serving as head of the special branch at the Bamenda 2 police station was shot and killed Thursday, August 31, presumably by separatists. The tragedy occurred at the Ntamulung Junction, and according to our findings, Asila Angus was followed by his executioners who shot at him at close range as he got out of his vehicle. The assailants fled the scene on a motorbike soon after accomplishing their mission. Angus was rushed to the Mbingo Baptist Hospital, where despite all the efforts made to resuscitate him, he gave up the ghost. His colleagues say they have launched a manhunt in a bid to find and capture the murderers. We additionally gathered that the slain police officer was constantly wearing civilian clothes to avoid being a prime target of the separatists. His death has plunged his colleagues and the people of Bamenda into a state of shock and dismay. The killing of the commissioner comes as a few days to the start of the new school year, with separatist leaders announcing a lengthy lockdown that will run from September 4 to 18.
And the young girls who assaulted one of theirs recently in Douala have been heard by the State Council at the Bonasama Court of First Instance. They were arrested and detained at the Mabanda Gendarmerie post. These after they allegedly committed the act. Gladys Ambodiban completes that story.
These are three amongst the 5 young girls who molested one of theirs recently in Bonaberi, Douala. They were arrested and detained after a video in which they molested, undressed, and shaved the hair of a 16-year-old girl went viral on social media.
La victime sera obligée.
The victim, under pressure, was obliged to make a publication online, tagging one of them a thief, with the objective to force her friend give back what she had stolen.
Par quelque moyen que ce soit à ramener ce qu'elle a volé, puisqu'elle subissait une pression.
Apart from assaulting, the young girls have been accused of obscene publication, which is a serious criminal offense, and destruction of property. The commander of the Mabanda Gendarmerie Post and his collaborators, under the supervision of the commander of the Gendarmerie Company in Douala 3 and the State Council of the Bonaberi Court of First Instance, went down a field where they arrested the suspects in an abandoned house at Carrefour Alaji. 24 hours later, we were able to lay hands on the 3 young girls in their attempt to run away. We arrested them at an abandoned house at Carrefour Alaji in Mabanda and detained them in our unit. We are continuing investigations to track down 2 others still on the run. At the moment, we are giving the necessary information to the State Council, who will decide on their fate. The 3 young girls, amongst whom the victim appeared before the State Council this August 31, 2023, they risk facing prison terms of 5 to 10 years, according to the Cameroon Penal Code.
The Nigerian government has pledged a stand and support to citizens or residents in Cameroon that delivered of 9 babies. The visit by the Consul General of the Southwest and Northwest region and the Consul General of the Littoral and West regions came to kill every other suspicious around the 9 babies. According to the Consul Generals, the babies are Nigerians. They supported the couple with a cash $500,000 and other gifts. More in the following story. Historic moments for the Nigerian community in Douala, August 31, 2023, as they celebrate and welcome 9 babies born of one of theirs. Among the celebrants are 2 Nigerian consul generals. the Consul General for the Littoral and West, and the Consul General for Southwest and Northwest regions.
And my officer, the Consul 1 Consular, Mr. Olivia, she came to see me that one of our brothers' wife just had a baby. In my tradition, we don't call the number of children multiples.
This is really something that is extraordinary. You know, that is not a common.
According to the Consul Generals, the government of Nigeria recognizes and salutes the bravery of the couple for delivery of 9 miracle babies. They pledged their full support.
We've seen the children, we've seen their mother, we've seen the father, who is the celebrant. It is a great outing.
And we are satisfied that they are in very good hands and the husband is taking care of the family very well.
We are the Nigerian government here.
That our brother, Right Honorable Anthony Chief Akwatuegu Ebubendibo won for the miraculous work that God did in his family and by extension our family for the gift of 9 children, 9 bouncing babies.
Donations to the babies by the 2 Consul Generals was both in kind and cash, thus depicting the warm reception.
Shown our little support, and we will continue to support them. They are our children. They are the children of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The mother of the 9 babies, Antonia Madu, is overwhelmed with joy.
I feel very happy that they come to my house to rejoice with me.
She justifies her silence to the government and praised attributing it to the weight of the baby at the time of birth. Born on March 23, 2023, the 9 babies are today almost 5 months old. Healthy, but their feeding, clothing and constant check of their health by a medical doctor at home remains costly for the parents. And Cameroon is taking measures to avoid surprises after the coup in Gabon. The Gabonese crisis has awakened Cameroonians for several reasons, one of being the fact that a large Cameroonian community resides in Gabon and could be affected. Saleh Sharifa completes our story.
As events continue unfolding in Gabon following the August 30 coup that saw the overthrow of the Ali Bongo regime, Cameroon is taking measures to avoid surprises. The coup leaders, led by General Brice Oligui Nguema, have since announced the dissolution of the country's institutions, the closure of borders, and the appointment transition president. Bongo was overthrown by his country's Republican Guard shortly after the announcement of his re-election for the 3rd term following the elections on August 26, with 64.27% of the vote. Faced with the situation, Cameroon, which shares approximately 298 kilometers of border with Gabon, has taken measures to protect its territory in the south region. We have gathered from security sources that troops have been deployed as part of the border security strategies. The Gabonese crisis also arouses the interest and concern of Cameroonians for several reasons. Firstly, there is a large Cameroonian community living in Gabon and which could be affected by the instability. There are also many Cameroonians who do business in Gabon and who come and go there regularly. Their families in Cameroon care about their faith.
Over 29,000 new voters have registered on the electoral register this 2023. The statistics were made public this September 1 by the Director General of Elections, Eric Suse, following the closure of the process yesterday, August 31, as stipulated by the Electoral Code. Haisencha has the rest of that story.
The curtains are drawn for the voters' registration exercise, which kick-started on January 3rd for the year 2023. And before the praise, this September 1st, the Director General of Elections, Eric Suse, dished out the figures.
By the end of this operation, we successfully registered a total of 368,119 electors.
He underlines that it is a milestone achievement for Elections Cameroon in the process compared to 2022.
The National Register of Voters, now pending cleanup, has a total of 7,523,184 electors. The operation fixed for the revision of littoral in 2023 were achieved by 99.47% as compared to the same operation in 2022, making an increase of 29,743 electors, representing 8.79%. This is a very good result for us.
And among the newly registered voters, 229,896 are men, 138,223 women, 255,742 youths, and 444 persons with disabilities.
And just a few days to the start of a new school year, tellers in Cameroon's economic city, Douala sales are still very timid compared to the same period last year. They are, however, hoping that by next week things will change for the better. Aisha Tao reports.
Across markets in Douala, uniforms of different schools are abundant, but sales remain stagnant. According to several tailors we spoke with, parents have not started purchases as compared to the affluence observed at the same period last year.
Since August, there is no affluence compared to last year. It goes backward. It doesn't move on as before. It's very slow. Everything is slow as compared to previous years.
Some of the tailors say in order to attract clients, they have reduced prices to no avail.
We are helping parents. We sell secondary school uniforms at 7,000 to 7,500 francs and primary at 5,000.
They are hoping that by next week, they will witness increases in the number of parents buying uniforms for them to liquidate their stocks.
And we're barely 2 days to the start of a new school year. Teachers are stepping up preparations to get their classrooms ready to welcome the learners. And pedagogically, many have already prepared their lesson notes ready to dish out to the children. Cup Monday, September 4. High Central visited some schools in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. History.
The clock is ticking, and kickoff of the 2023-2024 academic year is fast approaching. The teachers in this nursery and primary school at the Tuameki neighborhood in Yaoundé getting set in full gear with lesson preparation, intensive cleanup, classroom decoration, and putting in place of the necessary didactic materials.
As you can see, we're in great preparation. Lessons are already prepared for Monday. Yeah, our charts have already been prepared. So actually, we're just trying to put our classes in order. Yes, to welcome the children.
The pedagogic animators leaving no stone unturned 2 days to the D-Day as they have embarked on putting back the teachers on track after a long holidays.
We have taken time to properly drill them, to properly work with them, given the fact that out of the long break, some of them have forgotten one or two things. So far, too, we have already given them all their didactic materials. Each and everyone has already been positioned to his or her own class, and they're already preparing to welcome the children on Monday.
This under the supervision of the head teacher, who moves from one class to another to make sure the chalk soldiers are physically and psychologically ready.
Our teachers have already come up with their lessons. We have already gone through the lessons of the primary, and today we are going to go through that of the nursery and that of the language teachers.
The expectations of the academic year clearly defined.
Each and every one of them should inculcate in each learner our pillars, which are giving out a quality education, developing in them a scientific spirit, and inculcate in them moral values, so that our children at the end of their primary cycle here can easily suit themselves in any society they find themselves in.
And the chalkboards are black enough, ready to be used at 7 a.m. on Monday, September 4th, 2023.
And the littoral region stakeholders in the secondary education sector have been strategizing on a hitch-free academic year with focus on improving and, of course, examinations and ensuring an effective coverage of the year's program.
Among the students sanctioned this year for examination fraud were a good number of students from the littoral region.
Besides examination fraud is the old-age problem of clandestine schools that are much roaming by the year. This is the focus of a strategic planning meeting by the education stakeholders to improve the performances of students during end-of-course examination. The sectoral meeting this September 1 comes 2 days to the start of another school year.
Il a été question l'année dernière de commencer véritablement à digitaliser les enseignements et cette année nous irons un peu plus loin.
Digitalization in Cameroon started thanks to the COVID. When COVID came, the Honorable Minister of Secondary Education tried to see that students should not stay in their houses. She initiated the distant learning program. And with the distant learning program, teachers were called to prepare lessons, the record, and then they play it, and then they can watch later on. But now, as we speak, the distant learning center has digital boards that you can touch and the things come out.
Focus was equally on digitalization and classroom practices for the modernization of teaching and learning process in the Ministry of Secondary Education.
And the minister is emphasizing that every school in Cameroon, especially in those areas that people used to say there are no lights, they don't have electricity, that each school, the PTA should come together, get a generator that they can manage for the whole academic year, or get a solar panel that can ensure that these computers are running so that the children are not left behind. Yadiko is a school management software that takes into consideration all the registration processes from when the child is admitted to where the child, to the class where the child will be, and the advantage that Yadiko has come than any other software that is already existing is that when my child writes a test or a sequence now, and it is keyed, the teacher can key it right at the comfort of his bed.
The sectoral conference on consultation of heads of external services of the Ministry of Secondary Education of the Littoral also looks at how schools can effectively cover the school program and beef up learning. As is a latest soundtrack take over the Cameroonian music icon Stanley Eno took over the new headquarters of Canal and Sweet FM Radio this September 1, 2023, from animating to interviewing guests in various programs at Sweet FM Radio. The day was rich in emotion. Stanley Eno participated in the morning show Sweet Matin alongside Eric Ahmed Otu. He followed up with the Hot program, a show Devang broadcast between 10 a.m. and midday. The artist received another African music diva, Karen Foso, an initiative that aims to restore the image of the Cameroonian artists and enhance their art. The presence of these two Cameroonian music legends on Sweet FM is not a coincidence. The general director of Sweet FM wanted to highlight two icons of music who have a special history with the radio, Sweet FM. And that brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal, the International. Thanks so much for watching. But coming up next is a debrief with Mathieu Fangwa. So we'll be back, Perth, on Monday. Good night.